You've heard from so many experts today about this issue, and there are many sides to it. The political side, legal side, consumer side, the nonprofits organization side. But what about you? Where do you fit in? How should we, as common sense Canadians, respond? The key here is not to be reactionary or inflammatory. For every mile of truth, there are 2 miles of ditch. We don't want to portray this image that people who call themselves Christians are only people that freak out when things don't go their way, and we have an old world way of thinking that doesn't lend itself to change or growth. That's just insanity. On the other hand, we don't want to err on the side of trying to be so non-offensive that we sit back, relax, and let the world go to hell in a handbasket and simply think, golly shucks gee, I hope I get scooped up to heaven real soon. No, actually, God has called us to a much higher purpose than that. When it comes to issues like this summer employment, it is so vital that we get educated, informed, and it's imperative that we get involved. The attestation that the government implemented does not ask that an organization refrain from something. It asks what you believe. What we believe is none of the government's business. But what we want to use the money for, that would be a fair question. But that's not what they're asking. For instance, in recent weeks, we've learned that controversial groups, 2 Islamic organizations that have known ties to extremism, received grant funding, as well as a group that used the funds to protest the Trans Mountain Pipeline. This is just not common sense. Asking for a signature on an attestation, but not conducting a thorough screening process of what the taxpayer dollars will be used for. You know, wisdom is something that is really unique, and very often it's misunderstood. Wisdom is the ability to make the complex simple. It's the ability to communicate thoughtful solutions to real problems. Anyone can complain or make it even more complex. That's easy. But wise people offer solutions. They think issues through from start to finish. Let's choose to approach this issue wisely. From my perspective, here's the real problem at hand. The government was not elected to tell us how to think. They were elected to guide and protect their citizens. It's their job to grow this nation. The waters become very muddy when those who are in government begin to think that they're smarter than those they represent and attempt to try and force beliefs on any group of citizens. Any beliefs, Christian or otherwise, are supposed to be protected by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This legislation sets a precedent for the opposite in so many ways. Canadians are smart. We need to get involved. A robust, flourishing democracy is a place where all peoples, including those from the LGBTQ, all races, all ethnicities, and of all worldviews, including Christians, have the freedom and ability to have their perspectives heard. So let me ask you this. Who is doing the talking? What groups are aggressive and brilliant at fighting for their interests? I'll let you think on that one for a while. It's so easy to let mainstream media lead us down a path of thinking, isn't it? Oh, well, I heard it on the station, so I guess that must be the whole story. I promise you, if you ever do even a bit of digging into both sides of a story, it'll never be time wasted. So what's a common sense response to this whole issue of summer employment funding and the forcing to sign the attestation, which I believe is an infringement on the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? Well, we need to get informed. We need to become fully aware of what's happening in this nation and the details of any particular legislation or issue. We need to sign petitions and things like that. We need to take action. We need to make those phone calls. We need to participate with wisdom in national dialogue on important topics like this one. And when needed, be controversial. We need to express our opinions, which, by the way, should be as equally valued opinions as from any other citizens, and express them to our MPs and members of government. That's what they're there for. They are there to represent their people. You need to speak up. We need to pray for our leaders in government. I love Ephesians chapter 1, verses 15 and on. It is a prayer there that you can pray for leaders, and it brings God's wisdom and understanding and protects. Pray for every leader that is over you, even in business, but especially the government. And we'll tell you more about how you can sign a petition about this particular issue, simply and easily online, in just a couple of minutes. You can be a part of changing this nation. You should speak up when your rights and freedoms are being eroded. If nothing else today, remember, freedom in its essence can never take away the freedom of others. Let's be a people of action, of wisdom, and of common sense.